The rain-slicked streets of Eldridge City gleamed under the sodium glow of street lamps, turning puddles into fractured mirrors of the towering skyscrapers. Echo padded through the downpour, his matted fur clinging to his lean frame like a sodden cloak. He was a mutt of indeterminate breed, part shepherd, part terrier, with a splash of something wild that made his amber eyes burn with an unquenchable fire. At 3 years old, he'd known more homes than most dogs knew meals. A cardboard box behind a diner, the underbelly of a bridge, the fleeting warmth of a park bench shared with other strays. But tonight, as thunder grumbled overhead, Echo's paws carried him toward the heart of the city, where the lights never dimmed and the humans moved like shadows in a dream. He'd earned his name from the way he echoed the world around him, mimicking the joyful barks of leashed pets in the park, whining in harmony with the wail of sirens, even tilting his head to catch the faint strains of a busker's guitar. It was his gift and his curse, it made him invisible, just another noise in the cacophony. Hunger gnawed at his belly, sharper than the chill wind whipping through alleyways lined with overflowing dumpsters. He scavenged what he could, a half-eaten burger wrapper fluttering like a flag of surrender, a discarded chicken bone that splintered under his careful teeth. But it wasn't enough. Not tonight. As dawn broke, painting the sky in hesitant pinks, Echo slipped into Riverside Park. The grass was a rare luxury, soft under his paws, and he rolled in it, trying to shake off the night's grime. That's when he saw her, a little girl no older than 7, perched on a swing with her legs dangling, kicking at the mulch below. Her name was Lila, though Echo wouldn't learn that until later. She had braids like twisted vines, and her eyes, white and stormy blue, held the same quiet desperation he felt. She wasn't swinging, just sitting, clutching a tattered stuffed bear as if it were her anchor. Lila's mother had dropped her off at the park that morning, muttering about errands, and just an hour. It had been 3 hours now, and the park's other visitors had thinned to a trickle. Lila hummed a tuneless song, one she'd made up about lost puppies and rainy days, but her voice cracked on the high notes. Echo watched from the bushes, his tail thumping involuntarily against a root. Something in her melody echoed his own silent pleas. He stepped forward, cautious, his nails clicking softly on the path. The girl froze, her bear tumbling to the ground. "Go away," she whispered, but there was no bite in it. Echo didn't. Instead, he lowered his head and nudged the bear back toward her with his nose, his eyes never leaving hers. It was damp from the grass, but whole. Lila's lips twitched, a smile, fragile as a soap bubble. She scooped up the toy and patted the swing beside her. "You look lonely too." From that moment, an unspoken pact was forged. Echo became her shadow, trailing her through the park's winding trails. She shared crusts from her peanut butter sandwich, giggling when he sneezed at the sticky sweetness. In return, he chased squirrels up oaks, his barks turning her tears into laughter. When her mother finally arrived, harried, with apologies that rang hollow, Lila begged to bring him home. "He's my friend, Mama. He won't eat much." But the woman shook her head, eyes darting to the horizon. "We can't, baby. Not now." And just like that, Echo was adrift again, watching from afar as Lila's small hand waved goodbye. Days blurred into weeks. Echo's wanderings took him deeper into the city's underbelly, past the glittering storefronts of downtown to the forgotten fringes where factories loomed like sleeping giants. He fell in with a pack of strays, a grizzled old hound named Rusty, a sleek greyhound called Swift, and a pint-sized chihuahua dubbed Spike, who yapped commands like a diminutive general. They claimed a derelict warehouse as their den, its rusted walls echoing with tales of better days. Rusty spun yarns of endless fields and kind masters, Swift dreamed of the racetrack's thunder, Spike plotted heists on food carts with the fervor of a revolutionary. Under their wing, Echo learned the rhythms of survival. They taught him to read the humans, the ones who tossed scraps with pity, the ones who brandished brooms with malice. Together, they raided the night markets, dodging the flash of security lights and the growl of patrol cars. But freedom came at a cost. One evening, as they gnawed on pilfered sausages by a flickering barrel fire, Spike limped in, his paw gashed from a shattered bottle. Echo licked the wound clean, his tongue a gentle rasp, while Rusty grumbled about the soft-hearted pup who fussed too much. In the quiet hours, when the city hushed, Echo would slip away to Riverside Park, hoping for a glimpse of braids and blue eyes. Sometimes he found her, sometimes the swing stood empty, mocking him. Autumn arrived with a crisp bite, leaves carpeting the streets in fiery reds and golds. Echo's coat thickened, but so did the chill in his bones. The pack's territory shrank as construction crews bulldozed their haunts for luxury condos. Swift vanished one night, lured by the promise of a warm kennel and a bowl of kibble from a well-meaning jogger. Rusty grew frailer, his stories shorter. And Spike, the little warrior, turned on Echo during a turf skirmish with rival strays, his teeth sinking into Echo's flank in a flash of misplaced rage. Blood matted his fur, hot and sticky, as he limped back to the warehouse alone. Lying in the shadows, Echo dreamed of Lila's laugh, of the way her small fingers had scratched behind his ears. Pain throbbed like a distant drum, but worse was the ache of isolation. He rose at midnight, driven by an instinct deeper than hunger. The streets were alive with revelers stumbling from bars, their joy a stark contrast to his solitude. He crossed the bridge to the east side, where the affluent neighborhoods glowed with porch lights and manicured lawns. There, in a cul-de-sac lined with picket fences, he collapsed at the edge of a driveway, his breath's shallow rasps. Morning light found him there, curled like a question mark. The door of the corner house creaked open, and out stepped Lila, older now, her braids longer, her bear abandoned for a backpack slung over one shoulder. She was on her way to school, but her steps faltered at the sight of the familiar amber eyes. Echo, she breathed, dropping to her knees. Her mother followed, coffee mug in hand, her face softening from annoyance to alarm. "Oh, honey, he's hurt." What followed was a whirlwind Echo could scarcely comprehend. Gentle hands lifted him into a blanket-lined car, the rumble of the engine a soothing lullaby. At the vet's, needles pricked and voices murmured, but through the haze, he felt Lila's palm on his muzzle, steady and sure. "You're coming home with us," she whispered. For real this time. The apartment was small, cluttered with books and half-finished puzzles, but it smelled of safety, fresh laundry and simmering stew. Lila's mother, Elena, explained over dinner that times had been hard. A lost job, a move from the suburbs, the weight of single parenthood. The park bench waits were her guilty secret, a brief escape from the grind. But seeing Echo, broken yet unbroken, cracked something open in her. "He chose you, Lila. And maybe, we need him too." Echo's recovery was slow, marked by tentative explorations, the creak of floorboards under his paws, the miracle of a leash that led not to abandonment but to walks in the park. He chased frisbees with Lila after school, his barks echoing her cheers. Evenings brought Rusty's spirit alive in the way Echo curled at Alina's feet while she read aloud from dog-eared novels. Spike's fire lived on in his playful nips at socks, and Swift's grace in the way he bounded after fireflies in summer. One crisp fall day, as leaves danced like confetti, Echo led Lila back to the old warehouse ruins. The pack was gone, scattered by progress, but in their place, a new stray huddled, a shivering puppy with eyes like polished chestnuts. Echo nosed it gently, then looked to Lila, who scooped the tiny thing into her arms. "We'll call her Harmony," she declared. "Because she echoes you." In the years that followed, the city changed, towers rose, streets widened, but Echo's world shrank to the warmth of 2 laps and the echo of laughter that filled the apartment. He grew gray around the muzzle, his steps slower, but his eyes still burned with that wild fire. On quiet nights, when the rain pattered against the window, he'd tilt his head to the storm's rumble, whispering back his own song of gratitude. For in the end, home wasn't a place. It was the promise kept, the paw extended, the heart that chose to stay.